What on earth have our politicians done to beautiful Britain? They've blown our doors wide open, they've lied to us at every turn, and now we have to reap what they've sown. The results are in, and they are absolutely damning. Over the next 15 years, up to mid-2036, the UK population is projected to grow by 6.6 million people to 73.7 million. So that includes a net birth total of just 541,000 people, which means the overwhelming majority of that huge and unsustainable population growth will come from net migration of 6.1 million people. Now, the deeper you dive into these stats, the clearer the issue of uncontrolled mass migration becomes, because across England and Wales, people born overseas are more likely to be in social housing than people born in the UK. ONS census data reveals that 17% of the UK population were living in social housing in 2021. Now, that percentage more than doubles to 36% for Afghans living in this country. Similarly, 37% of Ghanaians live in taxpayer-funded homes. That rises to 41% of Jamaican immigrants, apparently, and 72%, that's nearly three-quarters of Somalians in this country were living in social housing. So look, imagine the crippling pressure another 6 million people will put on housing, the NHS and schools, not to mention the alarming change in demographics of this country. And mark my words, we will be told the solution to this problem, and I'm not joking now, will be more immigration. Why? Well, the other stats show that over the next 15 years, there will be an increasing number of older people, an ageing population. The size of the UK population aged 85 years and over is projected to increase from 1.6 million, 2.5% of the total population, to 2.6 million, that's 3.5% of the population. So we will need a younger workforce, won't we, to continue to prop up this giant immigration Ponzi scheme that we've been asked to live in. Now, I want to make something just as clear as it can possibly be here, all right? Now listen very closely. What I am saying here tonight is absolutely not an attempt to stoke tensions towards migrants. It is not their fault. My anger here is directed squarely at our politicians, our economists, and our open border fanatics. People who indoctrinated a nation into thinking that immigration at these levels can only be considered a good thing. Well, their bubble has now burst, hasn't it? And lo and behold, it's emerged that these people have sold our country out, destroyed our national identity, ruined every single public service, made us poorer and less safe. I say, shame on them. But before I get the thoughts of my panel, I am joined now by the pollster and academic Matt Goodwin. Now, Matt, the British population to top 70 million by 2036. How significant and potentially alarming are the stats today? What have you noticed?
Yeah, well, good to be with you, Patrick. The stats are deeply alarming, I think. Immigration is now responsible for 92% of our population growth going forward. It is the main driver of the expansion of our population. So we're going to see somewhere in the region of 6 cities the size of Birmingham being added to Britain's population over the next 12 years, which isn't a very long time at all, Patrick. And I think the thing that really gets me about this, and I've written about it today in my Substack, is that if you actually look at where we're going in the future, we're going to see a level of population change and churn that is going to make the 2000s and the 2010s look tame by comparison. We're going to see a proliferation of racial, cultural, religious identities and cultural practices which are going to not only make people feel very nervous, but are going to add to the housing crisis, which we know is being driven mainly by migration and a lack of new homes, and it's going to add to pressure on public services. So we have a mass migration policy, Patrick, which is completely out of control, which is why I do think probably the only thing Rishi Sunak could do to potentially pull off the biggest upset in British political history is to give the British people a referendum on reducing net migration to below 100,000 each year. That's the only card, Patrick, he has left to play.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic point, that, Matt. Look, Matt, thank you very much. Short and sweet tonight, but you always get to the point. You're the best man for the job. As pollster and academic, Matt Goodwin.